this is Heather, and I'm back with another video. And this week I'm going to be talking about part 2 of Artist Alley. And the first video was about how to get in and all the things you need to do to be prepared for that. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to part 2. I've had a lot of stuff going on, and these kind of videos do take a little more time than other ones, and still not really have a ton of that time, but I do want to get that second one done for you guys. And so part 2 is going to be about going to and being at the show. The main thing you want to do is when you're getting ready is be prepared before you leave. If you're going to be out of town, you're going to want to bring like clothes, change of clothes, your bathroom supplies, all kinds of things, medical supplies that you're going to need for your own personal use. But remember, if you're going to be going like overstate, you might want to bring money in your car for toll booths, because I do some shows that are going across states that do have tolls, and this is the thing you're going to want to bring. I usually bring a roll of quarters, but you can bring like anything you want. You can bring like singles. They pretty much take anything nowadays. Do bring extra cash for spending or emergencies. If it's a couple day show where I'm not going to be gone too long, I bring like $40 to $60 just to have like an extra bit of cash in me. Mostly I pretty much just use my debit card for everything. Always bring snacks and drinks for at the road and during the show. If you're going to be staying at a hotel or anything, you might want to like just maybe buy like a big pack of water or something, just to have water at the hotel, because that's not always a guarantee that you're going to be able to get to that. And I think it's very important that you stay hydrated and always have some kind of drinks to have on you. If you're driving yourself, you want to definitely remember to fill your gas tank, make sure your car is all up to specs and everything. If you need the tune-up or anything, if you're going to be driving for a long time. I haven't had to fly anywhere yet, but it's probably easier just to stick to cars for now. Remember, if you're going to be going like across the border, like if you're going to Canada for a show, remember your passport, definitely. And when you're bringing things for the show, you want to bring maybe like 5 to 10 of each thing. It's a highly debated subject of how many of each thing you should bring, and it really is always going to depend on you, and it's always going to depend on what you're comfortable with bringing and how many you think each thing is going to sell. 5 to 10 is usually the more or less the agreed upon amount of each item, but if you're going to be selling like a bunch of fan art or something that's like very popular, you might want to consider bringing more, depending on how big the show is going to be. If it's going to be like a 50,000 plus people show, you might want to consider bringing like maybe 20 of each thing. Remember things like hotel information, bring maps, make sure, or you could just load it on your GPS on your phone. Make sure you have like data or anything, so you can actually don't get lost or anything. I am very directionally challenged, so I always need GPS everywhere I go. Remember your load-in directions or any other information for the show. Setup times, takedown times, that kind of thing. I always print out all these things on paper and then just put everything in the folder somewhere where I can get to easily. I usually just have everything loaded in a personal bag, all that kind of information, just so I can get to it easily. So when you're actually at the show and you're actually starting up, you want to have certain things to do at the booth. This is always going to vary from person to person, but I think more or less you're going to want, like, obviously money for change. So this is always going to be different for everyone as well. Currently my change draw is at $150, and so I do 50 ones and 6 5s and 3 10s and 2 20s. And I always bring 20s because I have had people wanted to break 50s and 100s before, and I was very glad I did have them at the time. It's better just to have bigger bills on you, that way you don't lose a sale. So it's better to use a bunch of change than lose a sale completely. Definitely should get a card reader. You can either do PayPal's got one, which I used in the past, but I currently use Square now because I definitely want to be changing everything to Square eventually, because all my inventory is on there. I do like their card reader a lot. You can use just the free like card swiper thing, but I did invest in getting the chip reader because I don't know. It's more security for the card company or something. So you definitely want to bring other electronics. For example, I use my tablet pretty much almost always as my cash register. So I just go ahead and go in there, and even if people are paying in cash, add all the sales to my Square store. That way I keep track of everything I sell, and I know exactly what things are selling, what things are popular. It's really handy to have everything in one place like that. That's why I definitely thinking I'm going to be moving my store there probably by the end of this year or something, because that way everything's in one place and I don't have to keep updating other inventories, and it'll probably just be easier for everybody. Definitely obviously bring water with you, necessity. Bring some snacks, something that isn't gonna go bad during the day. Like, for example, I usually make like PB&J sandwiches if I'm gonna be going just for a day con or something, just like in the town or in the state. That nothing I have to like stay overnight for. I'll just make myself a sandwich and bring some chips or something. But you can make, whatever you like or prefer. Bring some pens to sign things with, because people are going to want autographs. You can offer them to people. If I don't, let me know. If you guys want something signed, I'll always sign it for you. I don't mind. Bring a sketchbook, bring drawing materials so you can draw things during the show if it gets slow, or you just want to like show people like, hey, I'm the artist. And then you can always like post it online and say, I'm drawing this for today for you guys. If you guys want to stop by my booth, you can come get some sketches or, buy stuff from me. Other things I like bringing are extra labels, just because you never know if something, either like I missed the label on, or sometimes I'll just like pop like little sticky notes on like my prints if I'm like running out of them. Because a lot of the time I'll be like, oh, this is my last one. I'll just pop it on there. And that's another good advertisement, just to show people, oh, we won't be able to get it again after this. Other things are scissors, tape, hand sanitizer is super important. As someone who is not crazy about physical contact with other people, I don't take this personally, honestly. If I like shake your hand and then immediately hand sanitize after, I'm just like kind of squicked out by touching people. So I think it's like always important to stay healthy and keep yourself clean, because you can't always get to the sink. Even if after I've eaten, I'll hand sanitize myself so I'm not like all gross, and I don't want to touch people if my hands are all gross either. So maybe another thing to possibly think about bringing is maybe a chair pillow. Either you can like just sit on it or just have it behind you, but it does get a little uncomfortable sitting in a fold-up metal chair for an entire weekend, so it is something to consider. Or maybe even a blanket, because sometimes it can get kind of cold in some conventions. If it does get really slow, you might want to like consider bringing like a book, something to read. I haven't been to like too many super slow conventions, but if it's very, very slow, that might be a good idea. If not, you might want to just stick to either just sketching. Standing up is also a very good thing. Keep an eye on people. Don't ignore everyone. I know it's hard to be like sociable all the time, but it is very helpful for your sales if you are like smiling and saying hi to everyone. And standing up does prove to be better for sales, rather than sitting there and just looking down at your table. And obviously the most important thing is bring someone with you. And if you can't, then try to get someone who can just come over for a little bit, like an hour or two, just to like cover for you if you have to go to the bathroom, if you want to just walk around, get some like exercise, because sitting at a table for 8 hours a day for 2 or 3 days can definitely get a little draining. And I always have my husband, luckily, so I'm very lucky for him. He does get a free show out of it, so at least there's that. But you want to like take a break once in a while. You don't want to like sit at the table the whole time, because it gets extremely taxing after some time. So other things you may want to consider, keeping track of sales. You can write things down on a piece of paper. I used to do this, but currently I do, like I said before, I keep track of them electronically now. I think this is a lot better situation for me. But you can do however you'd like. You don't have to go out of your way to spend a lot of time. But this is my job now, so I want to keep track of things as best as I possibly can. I also have a commission queue sheet that I created, and I'll give a link to you guys down in the description. It's nothing like too fancy. You can always like change things, edit it. This is just because I used to just write things down on like the sketchbook or something, and that wasn't like the best way of doing it. So now I have a nice list I can just keep track of everything, and then when I'm finished with things, I can check them off, and it's been pretty helpful. And you also want to make sure you organize all your things behind the table in a way that you can get to easily. You want to make sure if you're selling prints or books or things like that, you're probably not going to be putting them all on the table. So you want to put them in a box or someplace you can get to them easily. Like, one thing I have behind the table is my buttons, and I have those like right behind my displays, and that way I can just pull it right out of the little box and just hand them to people, and it's very handy. Again, you want to remember to enjoy the show. Remember, you're at a convention, it's exciting, and it's fun to be there. Remember to just take breaks, walk around, get some exercise. You see the sights. Again, this is going to be very important to have another person so you can do this. Get to know your table neighbors first. If you already know them personally, that's great. You can watch each other's tables while each of you need to go do whatever you need to do. So try to make connections. Trade business cards with people. Talk to them about the show. Talk to them how they think of the show. Do they think they are enjoying it? Do they think they're doing well? Are they going to be doing it next year? Have they done it before? Is it better than last year? Do they think that the sales are increasing? I mean, there's lots of factors that come into consideration. So walk around and see the sights if you can. Definitely. I highly recommend this. But you do want to remember to keep in mind that you're there to make money. Keep a budget for yourself and stick to it. Like I said earlier, I have about $40 to $60 for a small show. The last big show I did at Terrificon, I think I brought like 100 with me, and I pretty much spent it all. I knew it was going to be a bigger show, and I knew there was a lot of stuff going on, but it was definitely worth it. The show was absolutely amazing. It can be very tempting to get, that con exclusive figurine, but remember, you're there to hopefully go home with more money than you came with. Another very important thing is to keep your spending money and your con change drawer separate from each other. Basically, what that means is don't go into your change drawer to spend money from that. You want to keep that separate. I don't even touch that money for myself unless I need to get change or anything. But I don't spend it on anything for myself, like food or anything, until after I put it in the bank and I have like a clear deposit of exactly how much I made for the show. And then I can just spend it however I please, Don't spend money from your cash register. Basically, don't dip into your cash register. It's like the worst thing you can do. That it gets really hard to keep track of how much you've spent, how much you've made, especially if you're not keeping track of things on paper or electronically. So between days of the show, you want to rest up. You can go out to eat, get some pizza for your hotel room. Sometimes there are after parties Friday nights or Saturday nights before the convention, but you don't have to go to them. As an introvert, it's extremely draining and taxing on me physically and socially doing these things. I do love doing conventions, but I am absolutely wiped out by the end of Saturday night usually, because sometimes they'll go on for about 10 hours. I'll be up at 7 in the morning and they'll get out till 7 at night, so it is a very long day. It's not like I don't want to see anyone. I do. It's just sometimes I just want to go back and just lie in my bed and just watch TV. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can only do what you can do. Your own physical limitations, so you need to do what you need to do. I think that pretty much covers most of what I wanted to talk about for this part. The next part I'm going to be talking about after the show, and if you want to keep doing conventions in the future, what you should do for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Just remember, keep sending me likes, comments, and subscribes. This is very important if you want to help my channel grow. I know I'm super young still and super small. I do have a ton of art on my website, hrfarrington.com. So I do have a whole webcomic that's almost 700 pages long as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you enjoyed this, or let me know if you have any suggestions for anything in the future. Please let me know. See you guys all in the next video. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Thank you, as always, to my patrons, Andrew Linjo, Ben Wright-Human, Brandon Tinch, Colin Warmbrot, Council of Geeks, Dark Leap Master, Hexapus Inc., Jack Mahanteni, Jesse Durona, Merrick Bennett, Story Comic, and as always, a very special thank you to my $10 patrons, Corbin Koval and Steve Zarzinski.